So just a little bit of a clarification before the video actually starts. The video is going to be a little bit all over the place. I kind of bring up a couple of points and sort of forget about them. And there are other points and some stuff that happens in the movie that I kind of neglect to mention. Maybe I'll make another video talking about some stuff that I neglect to mention in the video another time, because Dragon Ball Superhero is kind of on my mind right now and I really want to talk about it. But for now, this is just the current review that I have for Dragon Ball Superhero, and I hope you enjoy. So can we talk about the fact that Beerus really wants to fuck Chile? So I just came home about an hour ago from the theaters to see the newest Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Superhero, which I guess funny thing about the title of the movie, I guess apparently Toriyama didn't know that Dragon Ball was currently called Dragon Ball Super, so he just called it Dragon Ball Superhero and didn't realize that it was supposed to be called Dragon Ball Superhero, which is kind of hilarious because I guess Toriyama just doesn't give a shit. And I guess you could kind of say that about certain elements of the movie, but yeah, I just got back from seeing the movie with a huge group of friends, and man, I didn't know what to expect when getting into this movie because I didn't really watch any of the trailers. Toei's doing currently a really shitty job at advertising this fucking movie, despite the fact that it's hugely successful right now. It's actually a really super successful Dragon Ball movie, an anime movie right now, despite the fact that it's not really being advertised too well, which I think just goes to show that Dragon Ball is still incredibly popular and people really want to go see something revolving around the series in general. So I didn't know what to expect. I knew of like two things going into it, and that was Gohan's new form, and it was like called like Beast Gohan or something like that, and Piccolo has some sort of new form. I just didn't really know what it was. So I knew those two things going into it, but besides that, I didn't know anything the fuck else. I didn't get spoiled. Unlike another buddy of mine who had the whole movie spoiled for him, which sucks, and he didn't come along to watch the movie with us because he was super pessimistic about it and super upset about it, so he didn't come with us, and I think he was busy with work anyways. But the movie started, and it starts off with a kind of like a expository dialogue about previous events that happened in Dragon Ball, and one of the other friends that was with us watching the movie, he was actually someone who didn't really know that much about Dragon Ball, and he didn't really watch it. And after we had left the theater and we were getting ready to just start leaving, he mentioned how he found it really enjoyable and he liked how the movie was able to explain a lot of things about the characters and stuff that happened before in the past. And he didn't really, even though he hadn't seen anything of it. And yeah, that's pretty much just kind of what the movie does a lot. It does a lot to help people who haven't seen previous Dragon Ball stuff. But obviously, if you have seen it, it's just kind of like there and you're being reminded of it. So that kind of takes you out a little bit. But it is nice to kind of get like a fresh reminder of it. But the movie starts and we're immediately introduced to the fact that the Red Ribbon Army is still around and they're still doing stuff. They're like a pharmaceutical company or something. And that's just what they've been doing for the past like few years since the destruction of the Red Ribbon Army and the death of Dr. Gero. And then it's also revealed that later on, towards like the beginning portion of the movie, that Dr. Gero has a grandson, and it's also confirmed, which I didn't really think that this was something that they were going to do, and I didn't think it was even going to be mentioned, but yeah, Android 21 and Android 16 are based off of Dr. Gero's actual wife and son, which I didn't expect them to do, but I guess it just now makes it canon that is the fact that they were going to, that is what it is. It kind of sort of feels like that Toriyama or Toei saw that TFS did that, and they were like, yeah, let's do that, because that makes sense. And so they did it. Continuing on further, we get some more stuff with Piccolo and Pan. Piccolo and Pan in this movie were absolutely fantastic. It felt like that they actually utilized Piccolo to the fullest extent. It felt like that Toriyama really wanted this movie to be about Piccolo, surprisingly. And I guess from what I've heard, because I did watch a couple of reviews before recording this video, Toriyama really wanted the focus to be around Piccolo and for the movie to really be about Piccolo and not really have Gohan be a part of it. But he was convinced to then add in Gohan and do some stuff with him. But the dichotomy of both Piccolo and Pan's relationship in this film was amazing. It was also hilarious at times, and it was super enjoyable. Explain the dichotomy between the two characters, because later on Piccolo gets into a fight with one of the Gammas, Gamma 2, who I'll talk about in a little bit. He gets into a fight with Gamma 2, and then he ends up following Gamma 2 to where the Red Ribbon Army's facility is. And he ends up finding out about a whole bunch of information about the two Gammas, the fact that Dr. Hito, or Dr. Hedo if you watch the dub. I did watch the movie in dub, by the way. He's around. He built 2 new androids. He built Cellmax, who we'll talk about later, because that's like a whole other thing. Commander Magenta is, leading the Red Ribbon Army, and they're basically trying to go after the Dragon Gang. That's basically what they're trying to do in this movie. And I guess to talk about Dr. Hito a little bit, the thing that they did differently with him is that he's supposed to be the grandson of Dr. Gero, and apparently, I just learned this right now, but Dr. Gero's name in Japanese means, like, to vomit, or it is vomit, and Dr. Hedo's name in Japanese is actually medicine for vomiting. So it's like the exact opposite, and it kind of makes sense when you realize Dr. Hedo's character in the movie, because his whole thing is that he's trying to be a good person and he's all about superheroes. But then he's working with the Red Ribbon Army, which is supposed to, who are trying to go after Goku and Bulma and the Capsule Corporation. And I mentioned this after the movie when we were starting to head home, but it sort of felt like that they were trying to make Dr. Hedo like a child. And I think something that would have worked better for the movie was that they made this character just this child prodigy, who's like super smart and has like the PhDs and stuff, and he knows how to create these super powerful androids, which Gamma 1 and 2 are. But they give him like the naivety of a child, sort of, but he's supposed to be like a grown fucking adult. And I was very confused. I was like, why didn't they just make this character, a child, but he has like the intellect of an adult? I don't know, it was very weird. Continuing on further, back to Piccolo again. How they handled him was really good. I really liked it. Him sneaking into the Red Ribbon Army was kind of hilarious, because he has to like sneak into the skies. He ends up getting like a power up later on, because he gets a wish from the dragon after Dende upgrades it, which they kind of explain in the movie how they went from the whole like only 2 wishes thing to the 3 wishes, because all Dende had to do was just pour some water on like the statue of the dragon, and it was able to upgrade it. And I guess water is the life force of the Namekians. That's all they need in order to survive. So Dende upgrades the dragon to be able to do more powerful wishes. Piccolo does a wish to the dragon to get essentially a power-up, and it's basically the unlocked potential thing that Guru did back in the Namek Saga, and that gives Piccolo like this huge power-up, and he ends up getting a form called Orange Piccolo. And I love Orange Piccolo. I'm just gonna say it right now, he looks like a fucking Chad. He's super big and bulky, and I like it because it's different. We don't really see anything like that in Dragon Ball and all, and personally I really enjoyed it, and it gets even more solidified, which I'll explain later on when we get towards like the climax of the movie, which we're going to talk about later. But his dichotomy with Pan was easily one of the best parts about the movie, because Pan, she's a child, so she's eccentric and excited and energetic, but she's also very charismatic and cunning, because even though she is still a child, she's still like got enough forethought to be able to sense Piccolo's energy, even though he's in disguise. And she understands, and after being told by Piccolo that she's just supposed to pretend to be kidnapped. And the whole entire time of the movie, when she's being held as a hostage, she's never in danger at any point whatsoever. At 3 fucking years old, she could handle the Red Ribbon Army besides Gamma 1 and 2, because they are pretty powerful. And I didn't know what they were going to do with Pan in this movie. I thought she was just going to be a damsel in distress based off of some of the trailers I had seen. But that's not what she is at all. She's just completely in the moment. She, is playing up the role of just being, a hostage. But at any point, she's not really in any real danger, because she can get away at any point when the Gammas aren't around to actually stop her and you know, kidnap her again. But she can just get out at any point. And I really liked that. I really thought that was really, really funny, that she's just not really in danger. She can get out any moment. She can protect herself. I don't know. I just really enjoyed that that's what they decided to do with Pan. And this Pan, in comparison to how she is in GT, she's just way better and way more enjoyable. And I'm really happy about that. She was very cute, very entertaining. I really liked her. But other than that, she basically is just the device for Gohan to get back into the fight. Which is very weird because we saw in Dragon Ball Super that his whole thing was that he was trying to maintain the strength and the power up that he got from doing the ritual from the Elder Kai. It was very weird because it sort of felt like he kind of fell back into like the old position that he was in, furthering kind of solidifying that maybe Toriyama didn't actually watch or know anything about Dragon Ball Super. He wasn't really told anything about it when he was writing the story. But he basically is just, or Pan basically just is an object and a force and the means to get Gohan back into the fight. And when Gohan gets back into the fight, he is fucking awesome. Gohan at the start is basically just focused on his work. He's not really doing anything for his family. He's not training. Maybe he's not weaker, but he's just like not getting stronger. His progression basically has just halted. And he's focusing on fucking ants, and they make this stupid ass joke that because there's an ant that can like go golden, and then fucking Gohan makes this stupid ass joke like Super Saiyan ant, and I fucking rolled my eyes and cringed at it. Anyways, throughout the entirety of the movie, he's basically just focused on his work, but Pan gets kidnapped, quote-unquote kidnapped, and he immediately just goes into fucking, like, I'm gonna murder these people mode. And he is just fucking awesome when he, like, powers up and creates this huge crater which almost destroys his house and his home. That was awesome. But even more, another cool-ass moment that he did with Gohan was when he actually shows up to the Red Ribbon Army's base. He destroys the plane that they're, like, riding in for the moment, lands on the ground in, like, a fucking superhero pose, something straight out of, like, fucking Infinity War or something. It was awesome, right? I was fully in the moment and super, like, immersed into the movie, and I was ready for some fucking action to start going. And pretty much by this point, when Gohan finally steps into the fight, that's when the true finale of the movie is starting to come into fruition. And to rewind a little bit, I kind of want to talk about Goku and Vegeta in the movie. They're on Beerus's planet, you know, they're doing the stuff there. They're training with Broly, they're trying to get Broly to kind of handle his power and control the fact that he kind of loses himself whenever he starts powering up and he goes like Super Saiyan and stuff. So they're working on that. Lemo and Chilai are also there with Broly. And I think what they did with Lemo was kind of funny because they just essentially turn him into like Beerus's cook, because apparently he's able to like make really delicious food. But back to what I said at the beginning of the video before the intro. Yeah, they have a moment where like Chilai is trying to rob Whis and Beerus. She gets caught, and then like she gets caught trying to steal their shit. Beerus sees her. He kind of like shudders, stands there, looks at her, and he's like, "I like this one." Straight up, again, straight up from like Endgame when Thor like brings Stormbreaker. I think that's what the axe is called. When he like calls Stormbreaker towards him to like get a gauge of like Captain Marvel. It's sort of like that scene from Endgame. Spoilers if you haven't seen Endgame. I thought that was a really funny moment, but yeah, the whole entire time, like my buddies and I watching the movie were just like, does Beerus just really want to fuck Chilai? That was the energy that we got. But it wasn't creepy. It was actually funny because he basically just turns like nicer, right? Because he's like sort of trying to like, and I guess sort of impress Chilai, and he doesn't want her to like hate him or something. I don't know. My point is that it wasn't creepy. They didn't turn him into like some. They basically didn't turn him into Roshi, right? Where he's like trying to like hit on her and like grope her and stuff. No, that's not something Beerus would do. They did something that fits with his character, and I liked it. That's basically all they really do. We see a little bit of a scuffle between Goku and Vegeta, and we don't see them ever again until pretty much like after the credits of the film, which we'll talk about when I get to that part of the video. But yeah, pretty much when Gohan steps into the fight, that's pretty much like the whole ending of the fight. Gohan fights Gamma 1, who's supposed to be like the more serious of the two Gammas, and then Piccolo fights Gamma 2. And I guess I should talk about the Gammas because I watched a couple of reviews from some Dragon Ball channels that I find very reputable, that being Masako X and Geekdom 101. It sort of feels like that I'm like the only person so far that has seen this movie and didn't really care about the Gammas. I didn't hate them. I thought Gamma 2 was going to be annoying, but he's not. He's just kind of like a wisecracking, like, he's sort of just like a wisecracker, right? He makes a lot of jokes. He's kind of, I was going to say naive, but that's not really the word that I want to describe him as. I don't really know how to properly describe him, but the main thing about him is that he is a wisecracker, and he does kind of take things a little bit lightly than normal, whereas, again, Gamma 1 is supposed to be the more serious of the two. But at the end of the day, the Gammas do really want to be heroes, because that's what they are programmed to do. They're androids first. They were programmed to be heroes. That's what Dr. Hedo wanted them to be. And as soon as they realized that the Red Ribbon Army are bad guys and are doing terrible shit, or they're planning to do terrible shit, they stopped in their tracks, and they realized that, hey, we need to go ahead and help the Dragon Team. And that's exactly what they go ahead and do. But regardless, the fight between Gohan and Gamma 2 was really well done. I thought it was a really good fight. Yeah, regardless, they didn't really last too long because they ultimately end up siding with the Dragon Team in the end. But it was really cool. And then we see Orange Piccolo for the first time. It was fucking awesome. I lost my shit watching that transformation. I was like, oh, is Piccolo already out of the fight again? But then we see, like, I guess the Namekian, I guess that's how I'm interpreting it. Like, the Namekian tree of life grow on, like, Piccolo's back, and then he rises up in, like, his powered up state, and he's just, like, super bulky, and he's huge, and he's, like, super powerful. Like, nothing hurts him. He just, like, tanks all the attacks. Like, as I was watching the movie, I turned to my friend, and I was like, this is Chad Piccolo. And that's exactly what he is. He's just Chad. He's just Piccolo, but he's a fucking Chad. It was amazing. We continue on further, though, and Commander Magenta goes down, and he unleashes Cell Max. So let's talk about Cell Max for a little bit before I can continue to talk about, like, the rest of the movie. So Cell Max, people are not gonna like Cell Max because they would either want a new Dragon Ball villain, which, yes, I would like a new Dragon Ball villain, and some people are gonna also want the old Cell back, the guy, the Cell who was very sophisticated and charismatic and all this other stuff. But I don't think that would have really worked for this movie. Just to be completely honest, because that's not really what the movie was trying to do. That's not what the movie needed. Not every movie needs, like, a cunning, smart, sophisticated, charming villain. Sometimes you just need a villain to go in there and just be, like, a gigantic fucking kaiju monster. And that's exactly what Cell Max is. That's all I needed him to be. He didn't need to be like the Self in the past. We just needed a villain to be brought back because it makes sense for why they're bringing them back. And yeah, like, Cell Max is just a whatever villain. I like Cell Max for what it is. It's just a gigantic kaiju monster that our heroes need to defeat. And to get back towards the movie, though, so Cell Max shows up after Commander Magenta like summons him and releases him, who dies, by the way. I should mention that Commander Magenta dies in the movie because he's, like, stung by the bee that Dr. Hedo created. I forgot what the name of the bee is called, but it's injected with poison. He ends up dying. Whatever. Like, the son of Commander Red, like, who really fucking gives a shit? We're never gonna see these characters ever again. Anyways, Cell Max is unleashed, and all the Dragon Team is pretty much there besides, Goku, Vegeta, and Broly. But that's not what the movie is about. So, Goten shows up, Trunks shows up, 18 shows up, and Krillin shows up. And everyone does something to contribute into the fight and with the situation at hand. And that's what I really liked. Because another thing that the movie also did really well that I also really loved and appreciated is that it wasn't just the Goku and Vegeta show. The other characters actually got moments to shine, and they actually did stuff. 18, not so much so, because it sort of just felt like she was just kind of there to be a part of the fight, and she was also probably just dragged along because Krillin is also there, so she was just like, yeah, 18, you can come along as well. She doesn't really do anything notable, but she's, you know, I liked her being there. I don't give a shit. I like 18, so I liked her being there. She didn't need to do anything special. But yeah, all the characters do something notable. The Gammas are like teaming up together and they're doing shit. Gamma 2 ends up sacrificing himself to try to defeat and blow up Cell Max, but he ultimately ends up dying by the end of the movie. Krillin, towards the end of the fight, does a couple of things. So, he shows up at least. Then he he does the Destructo Disc and does a little bit of damage towards Cell Max. And then he does the fucking solar flare to stun Cell Max, so that way Gamma 2 can try to, destroy Cell Max. And, I explained this to a buddy of mine, Josh, and we were comparing him to Chad from Bleach, where we're just like, we don't need this character to do much. It would be cool if he did a lot, but he doesn't need to do much. But having them there is just really nice, and we like them being there. So Krillin didn't need to do a whole lot, even though he does a couple of things that are pretty notable. He didn't really need to do much. Just him being there was really nice, and I really like Krillin. And Krillin just doing anything is obviously just really cool. Fucking Piccolo does one of the fucking awesomest shit that I have ever seen in Dragon Ball. So obviously he's in like Orange Piccolo mode. He's in that form, and then Cell Max is trying to stomp the foot to get someone, I forget who it was. But he like stomps the foot, and then Krillin shows up, and then he's like, hey Piccolo, why don't you go like into like giant form? Why don't you grow? And then Piccolo's like, oh yeah, I forgot I can do that. And then Piccolo starts fucking growing, and it's pretty much just a gigantic kaiju fight with Orange Piccolo and Cell Max. I didn't know that this is something that I needed to see in Dragon Ball, but I'm very glad that it happened, and the fact that they actually managed to fucking pull it off and make it awesome. Right? It was just fucking cool seeing gigantic Orange Piccolo, which is what they literally call it in the film, by the way. I'm not calling it that because it's like a fan term. That's literally what they call it in the movie. Giant Orange Piccolo fighting Cell Max. It was fucking incredible. Seeing it on the big screen in the theaters was one of the coolest movie experiences that I've ever fucking had in my life. And then obviously we get back further into like the stuff with Gohan, and the entire time the movie's trying to enforce the fact that Gohan, it has the potential to be one of the strongest or the strongest person in the universe. And the movie enforces that in the beginning when Piccolo is saying that to Pan, and it really feels like that they're trying to get Gohan back into the state where he was like sort of like during the Cell Saga, where he pretty much just becomes the strongest guy to ever fucking exist. And so yeah, we get on later into the fight. Giant Orange Piccolo is having a kaiju fight, and Gohan's powering up. And Gohan, he's losing. A lot of the other characters, they're not doing a whole lot either, and they pretty much just get knocked away like they're fucking dirt, right? Gohan's powering up. He sees all of his friends and essentially family at this point just losing, and they're getting closer and closer to death. Piccolo's almost fucking dead, and finally Gohan transforms, and we see Beast Gohan, which is, I guess that's what the official name is, or maybe it's not. Maybe that's like a fan name that the community created. I'm not exactly sure. I could probably do a little bit of research into finding out if that's the case or not. But yeah, Gohan gets an entirely brand new transformation. It's basically just honestly Gohan Blanco. He has like huge like spiky white hair, and his eyes are red. And it looks kind of stupid. Not really. It looks kind of dumb because it's just like Gohan Blanco. Like I said, it's just Gohan with huge white hair. It's a complete fucking asspull, by the way, because it just literally comes out of nowhere. He gets a new transformation. They do a callback to like the screen tear, the red screen tear that Gohan did in the Cell Saga in his fight against Cell. They have that callback. He transforms. It's kind of dumb, but honestly, I didn't really care when I was watching the movie. I'm just glad that Gohan has like his own transformation that's special and unique to him, besides like the potential Unleashed form. And I didn't really care if it looked sort of stupid. I really liked it because I liked the whole like honestly, I like the red eyes. The red eyes are really what sell it for me. Um, so yeah, Gohan in this transformation is super sick. He's super fucking powerful. He takes like a full-on punch from Cell Max, awakened Cell Max, but still like Cell. Takes it like a champ. Doesn't even get fucking phased by it. Piccolo joins back into the fight because he didn't actually die. Starts using like his stretchy arm limbs to like wrap around Cell Max, and Gohan's powering up this like final attack to finally get rid of Cell Max. How many times I've said that in the video, by the way. It powers up this attack, and honestly, this is something that's been like sort of building up for the fans for a very long time, and it's the fact that Gohan finally does the Manka Kosapo. He does the special beam cannon for the very first time, and it was incredible. There's not much to say. It was fucking incredible. It looked fantastic. The moment itself was being like super built up, and it was fucking awesome. And then it hits Cell Max. Cell Max is destroyed, and then that's pretty much just where the movie ends. The characters are all like sort of reflecting on like what happened. Gohan and Piccolo have their new transformations. Everyone's okay. Again, Gamma 2 dies. Dr. Hedo and Gamma 1 are ready and willing to actually take the punishment for the decisions that they've actually made. But ultimately, what just ends up becoming with them is that they end up joining along with Capsule Corporation for cosmetic stuff. Because Dr. Hedo actually, he said this at the beginning of the movie, he created like this like serum or something that basically allows him to be like fucking bulletproof. And Bulma does like this whole shtick about how she summons the dragon to give herself I guess like not prosthetics but like procedures to like make herself look younger and stuff. Which, by the way, I guess I should mention, because even though it's a little late to mention it, whenever they're making the rest of the wishes to the dragon, fucking Bulma wishes for a butt lift and longer eyelashes. Slightly longer eyelashes. And I would find that kind of dumb if it wasn't for the fact that the movie makes fun of it, because they could have just like summoned Goku and Vegeta back to Earth with the other wishes. So I'm fine with it. Back to the end of the movie, though. Dr. Hedo and Gamma 1 end up joining along with Capsule Corporation. Gamma 1's probably going to end up doing some stuff similar along the lines with like Krillin is doing. And in Pan, it's a callback to early on in the movie, but Pan was trying to learn how to fly. She ends up learning how to fly at the final climax of the fight, and she flies at the end of the movie. We see all the characters just all over again, and then the movie ends. And I was sitting there through the credits. I'm kind of joking around with my friends. I'm talking about the movie, and I'm talking about some stuff. Talking about how I really enjoyed it. We get to the end credits stuff that happens. We're back to what Goku and Vegeta were doing. Vegeta finally ends up defeating Kakarot, and honestly, I was just laughing my ass off at that. Even more so when we cut to Lemo and Broly, and you're like sobbing. I was like, wow, those two must have been Vegeta fans. It was very funny. But yeah, that was Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Fucking awesome, right? It was a fantastic film. I think I actually like it slightly more than Broly, simply because of the fact that the thing that I had a problem with Broly was that it was basically just like a 40-minute fight, and there were like no like breaks in between the fight. So it kind of just becomes like a monotonous, super long Dragon Ball fight. Up until like we get like a small break where Goku and Vegeta are trying to fuse, but even then it's like Broly's fighting Frieza, and we cut back to that little like scuffle. So it's basically just like one like super long fight, and there wasn't really like a lot to like build upon like the characters and developing the characters. There wasn't anything. Like a lot of what superhero does, it's like super slice of life. Dragon Ball Super Broly didn't really have any of that. It was just like one super long fight, but like some other extra stuff beforehand, and that's basically it. Dragon Ball Super Superhero basically just does a lot of similar stuff that Broly does, like towards like the second half of the movie, but we get further development of the characters. We get character interactions. We get to see characters just get to bounce off of one another, and that's stuff that I really love in media and storytelling. It's just getting like two or more characters together to go on an adventure and just bounce off of one another with their personalities. That's what this movie does, and that's where it really succeeded, and it made me really enjoy the movie a whole lot more when it was continuing on further and building upon that even more so. I just really liked it. I really enjoyed it. This movie was amazing. It had great action, some pretty hilarious comedy every now and then when they actually were doing good jokes, because there were some jokes that I was just like, like whatever, I didn't really care for that. Surprisingly so, I actually was talking about this with another buddy of mine, Marco. I was really surprised and impressed by their first CG animated film. This is Toei's first animated movie that was done in full CGI. And although, yes, obviously there are times where it looks kind of off or like really off, but most of the time it looks super solid. And, you know, going into it, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how it was going to look. But ultimately, now that they have the experience that they have with this movie, now they can do more movies. Maybe they can do another Dragon Ball movie. Personally speaking, I am theorizing that we're going to get a future One Piece movie in the near future. And it's going to be full CGI, and they're going to do that, and yada yada. I'm honestly fully expecting a new One Piece movie to come out in the near future, and it's going to be fully CGI. They're going to do more work and like touch up some stuff that they had problems with in Superhero. But I really enjoyed this film. The music was good, animation was good, action was good, characters were good, story overall. Everything about this film was just really enjoyable. This was a really awesome experience to have watching on the big screen. And this really is a film that you need to watch on the big screen, because moments like Cell Max getting unleashed and he's like getting unearthed from the film. Like Cell Max, like the way that he sounds and him coming up from the fucking like ground up was like honestly kind of like scary. Cell Max is actually kind of terrifying in this movie. And I feel like that wouldn't have worked nearly as well if I didn't watch this in the theaters. It just made it work a whole lot more, and there are a couple other like elements and other moments that work a whole lot more as well by watching it in the theaters. But ultimately, all I really have to say about the film is that it was fucking awesome. It was super enjoyable. I'm really glad that I actually went to the theaters and watched this instead of just waiting for it to come to like home video or something. I'm really glad that I went to the theaters to watch this. It was super fun going to the movies with my friends and just watch this fucking kick-ass Dragon Ball movie. It was awesome. It was just a super cool experience. I'm really glad that I did it. I'm wondering what non-Dragon Ball fans think of this film. Like, this is like the first Dragon Ball related thing that they're watching. And I'm wondering what they think of it. And I'm also wondering what the little kids think when watching this movie. Because ultimately, yeah, it's like little kids are going to be watching this film, you know, regardless of the fact that they're being dragged by like their brother or their uncle, their father or whatever to go watch it, or they were just genuinely curious themselves and they wanted to go watch it. Again, that's probably not the case, to be honest, considering the fact that, like I said, the movie hasn't really had like too great of advertisement and marketing. They've honestly been doing a pretty shit job in terms of that. But ultimately, I guess to just sort of wrap things up, I really had a lot of fun watching this film. Go watch it in theaters, because there is no other experience other than watching it in the theaters. Super fun. Really enjoyed it. If I was to rank it, I guess, like out of 10, I would rank it a 9 out of 10, I guess. Honestly, no, like an 8.5 out of 10. It's slightly better than Broly. I think Broly is like an 8 out of 10. Superhero is an 8.5 out of 10. And then also to like point out, it's like super hard for me personally to like outdo Battle of Gods, because Battle of Gods for me is like a 9 out of 10. I love Battle of Gods. Yeah, ultimately just go watch it. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, of course go fucking watch it. You're probably not watching this video though, because spoilers. Anyways, that's pretty much all I really have to say. I love this movie. I'm wondering what they're gonna do next. I'm wondering what they're going to do with a couple of things that I haven't mentioned, because I didn't really feel like mentioning it, because I didn't really want to get into a super long discussion, despite the fact that this video is probably going to be like 35 minutes long or something. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's all I really have to say about the film. I really enjoyed it. Go watch it. Yeah. I'll see you guys in the next video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm out. Peace.